Let's discuss IS-3 compliance. To start off, what happens if we don't comply? As a reminder, IS-3's risk-based approach guides the allocations of resources by evaluating risk and assessing the cost and benefit of risk management. And a significant failure of a unit to comply with IS-3 policy may affect a unit's or location's ability to seek cyber insurance reimbursement. If a security incident occurs and the UC location is IS-3 compliant, UCOP offers cyber and privacy breach liability coverage, which includes both first and third-party coverage for damages and claims related to privacy and security incidents. This highlights the significance of adhering to the IS-3 policy. This policy is a reasonable person standard, and the same standard set by the state of California and the Office of Civil Rights. The standard defines significant failure as a conscious, intentional failure or reckless indifference to the obligation to comply. What would a failure to comply look like? Let's review two examples. Example 1. If a unit did not encrypt any of its 50 laptops, that would constitute a failure to comply. Whereas if a unit encrypted all of its laptops and 2 new ones were stolen prior to the setup process, that would not constitute a significant failure to comply. Example 2. If a unit had 2 years of history showing the unit regularly applied software updates and patches, but 5 systems were missed in the last cycle, that would not constitute a failure to comply. Whereas if there was no history of patching and recent patching was also incomplete, meaning most systems were still unpatched, that would constitute a significant failure because there would be a clear pattern of non-compliance. Let's take a look at the average cost of a data breach. Here we have 3 different price points. The average cost per record is $164. The average total cost during a data breach is $4.35 million. And the average cost of a ransomware attack is $4.54 million. To give you an idea of the number of ransomware incidents in 2022, there were 89 ransomware incidents in the education sector, with almost half of them, 44, affecting universities and colleges. With that in mind, consider if there was a data breach or a compromise of some kind, would your unit or location have to send out a notice? The answer is yes if notice triggering individual data or data covered under regulatory law, think HIPAA and PCI, is involved. Note that the cost of sending out this notice will go to the unit. Would you need to report it to regulators or campus council? Before this is done, the first thing that a unit should do is to complete the incident response form. From there, the incident response team will perform the necessary actions to handle the incident. This includes notifying regulators or campus council, and units will be aware of and sign any notifications that are sent out. It's important to note that campus council and UCRP are notified of nearly all incidents. Would you need to pay a fine or cyber insurance deductible? The amount paid is broken down by the number of records exposed during the incident. This can range from $20,000 for P1 level data to $100,000 for P4 data. For more information on this, see University of California Policy BUS 80. 2 important things to note about the cyber insurance deductibles are that the deductibles do not cover the full cost of the incident, and insurance does not cover negligence, meaning failure to comply to policy. And finally, does your unit know the amount of risk they are responsible for? One way to figure this out is by creating an inventory of IT assets and knowing what type of data and how many records those systems process or store. We want to stress that the financial risk of a data security breach that used to fall to UCOP or the central campus is now the responsibility of the individual units, meaning colleges, departments, labs, or research groups. While these costs vary widely, they range from tens of thousands of dollars to many millions. The cost of a data breach is huge. Aside from money, it takes time and can affect the reputation of the university.